Please go ahead, Christian.
Okay, I was not sure if you want to say something or do an introduction of myself. So my name is
Sorry.
Yeah, it's fine. So my name is Christian, and we are working in the Sovereign Cloud Stack project on the infrastructure layer, and we started to build a new cloud environment in a data center with an innovative approach, with a view on the power and cooling and so on. And to be part of an innovative data center, you also have some issues from time to time that you do not have in a legacy data center. And one of these things we had around a good month ago is that something exploded on the Ostalb. So the data center is located on the Ostalb in South Germany in a small village. And what you can see on this picture is something burns inside the transformer station. And because of this, we had a peak in the whole power net on the Ostalb. And as a reason of this, we had something Eastern Swabian Jura. Okay, I was not aware of this. Okay. We had some outage in the control station of the data center. So we had not something that exploded inside our data center as well, but a control unit that controls the power supply was broken. And because of this, we had a shutdown of the external power in the data center. And then we had the problem that the USVs were too small for the takeover for the outage power. So we have not an regular gas oil power sink there. We have something powered by gas, which takes over when something is broken. But the problem is that the control unit was broken, and because of this, the failover was not finished. And so we had a full power outage in the data center for around 20 minutes as a result of this. So after half an hour, the resolved the issue in the transformer station, and the network was on normal power after this. And then we had to reset everything. So we got the notification around 10 minutes after the outage, and we were online after 10 minutes and had a look on everything. And we were pretty happy because on the software side, so on the infrastructure side inside the data center, we did have to fix two issues. So one issue was an hanging container on the Sonic plane. So we have an Sonic network plane with an IPv6 based approach with FR routing daemons everywhere, and one of these containers did not come up, and we did not had a good monitoring for this part of the environment. So we have to find this thing, and we then started to implement a monitoring concept for the network plane containers on Sonic as well. And the other thing was that we forgot to set an MTU on one of the router systems, on the external router systems. So we have an approach that we have external routers, and we have an overlay network that connects those external routers to internal routers to do not have some VLAN connectivity or something below this. And on the one router, the MTU was still on 1500, and on the other one on 1550. And we simply forgot to make this boot safe because when the environment is fresh and you have to fix it, and then you do some changes without doing the pull request first. And so this took the most time to find this, because MTUs are, it's always the MTU in the end, and it took around 2 hours to find this, and then everything else was up and running without any interaction. So the Ceph clusters we have in the environment were up and running and were healthy. Same for the RabbitMQ and the database clusters, and also the same for the network plane. So we did not have to reset some stacked switches or something like this, or we did not have to fix the OpenSearch clusters or any other clusters. And also the parts of the payload were up and running. So on top we have the managed Kubernetes with Gardener, and the services running there were also healthy after the power outage. And the only thing we had to do is to inform the customers that they have a look on their cat and dog instances to check if they are healthy good. So we just started them again after the power outage. So we do this by a Nova configuration setting, that we simply start all instances after we lost a node. But also there, everything was good. And so the experience was surprising. We never did this before, that we did a full power outage on the whole data center. So we only tested parts of the environment, and so we dropped some control planes or some network plane nodes and so on, but we never did a full power outage test on this environment. So our learning is that we have to improve the monitoring of the network plane, and that it's always a good idea to merge changes first and then to deploy them, and to not do it the other way around. And we also fixed this, and in the meanwhile, we also replaced the old router systems with newer router systems, and so that they are also now in a good state, because we had to redeploy them and had to reconfigure everything on top of this, and now also have the correct network configuration in our repository. And we also had a look on what can we improve on the data center side. So one thing is that we increased the size of the batteries. So we do not have a large amount of batteries, because we have this power thing running all the time, and we can simply spin it up. But to we not only have 30 seconds in the future, so we increased to have 90 seconds in the future to do the failover, to be a little bit more safe there. And we also are in the progress of getting a better filter for such events. So you have such events maybe every 10 or 20 years, that there is a fire in a transformer station. So we hope that this is not a regular event, and it's more a black swan event. But to be more safe there, we will also add another filter unit. But those units are pretty expensive, at least for our budget as small companies. And so we are in the progress to find some money for this and to really buy it. And but I think in the future, at least we know what to do. And we confirmed that the processes for the support chain is working, and that we can recover when the power is back. And I think it's a good proof that the HA services are working, and that the managed Kubernetes is working, and that most of these things restored automatically, so that we do not have to, we have to check, but in the end, it's not so hard. And of course, we lost the customer payload for around 30 minutes. But I think in the future, we are also aware of this when we have our second region up. Then we can also have the managed Kubernetes service, so that it's aware of different zones and regions, and that the payload can be deployed. And then we can simply fail over the PGP sessions to also avoid those issues. But it's not not part of the outage. So to summarize, it was not so hard as expected, but it's not a good idea to have this on every weekend, right? And yeah, I hope that we do not have to such an outage again in the future, and that we have not an explosion in the transformer station in the next years. Yeah, that's all in the end. Because we did not have so much issues at the moment.
Are there any questions? Yes, Kurt.
I always have questions. Thanks, Christian, for the nice report. To me, it sounded a bit like you felt you were lucky that after the power was restored, everything came up back again, and well, the Ceph clusters all had survived, and most of the infrastructure came up except for this stupid MTU thing.
Yeah.
And this bad container on Sonic. Would you say you were lucky, or would you say, well, we had tested certain pieces and that's actually why we have maybe deserved to be lucky? Which pieces can you test and which ones remain something that you, well, just cannot be safe?
Yeah, I think we have to spend more time on the network plane, but I think it proves that the overall HN concept without Kubernetes in the control plane works. So we do not have lost any service or any node or any payload at the end. And so for me, this is not about being lucky. It's more about that the overall concept works and that we have to spend more time on Sonic in the future to also get there. Yeah. So Sonic is the component we just use, and we play around a lot of with, but yeah, we spend a lot of more time with Ceph and OpenStack and Kubernetes and the other part of the environment, and yeah, so we do not have to invest more in Sonic. That's our learning, but I think it's not about being lucky. It's more about, yeah, I think it's not recommended to do this on other environments for a test bed. You have customers on the environment already, but it works. So this is I think good.
Just go ahead, Kurt.
Maybe one more question. So one of the things I've seen with hardware is that if it gets shut down by power being removed and then you attach it to power again, that only 95% of the hardware comes back up and you lose maybe a switch or a server or a hard disk. How would you have handled that?
So we did not lose any hardware because it's pretty new, maybe because of this. But so we have a concept that when we lose one component, it doesn't matter in the end. We can lose a router or a network switch or a node or a storage node or anything else, and the environment continues to work. So of course you have to do some maintenance afterwards, but it does not matter when you reset everything. And we have, as everybody else, spare capacity in the environment as well as in the room next to the data center. And we have 24/7 support from the operator of the data center, and then they can simply go there and remove some power supplies or exchange some hard disks or something like this. But we also tried to avoid the classical things like, so at the moment we have one of these self-storage clusters with normal disks, but we are currently in the progress of replacing this with an all-flash cluster, for example, to also avoid issues there. And so that we do not have any rotating thing in the environment. This will decrease the chance that the storage device dies. And we also have a water cooling in the environment. And so this, I think, is also good because the temperature is pretty low then, and you do not have some heat somewhere that disturbs the progress. And we can also, so one of the problems is when you repower the environment is that you have a peak in the payload and that then everything dies. But this is also not a problem because we can have a very high density per rack, and we have not limitless power there, but it's not a problem because we can simply add additional power resources in such a case with the power generator outside. And we also do not have a problem inside the racks because we can overload them for a short time. And so this is also not a problem when all of the nodes come back at the same time. And this worked pretty good because this is normally an issue when you are in a normal data center, that when you power on a row of racks, something else will burn. And yeah, this worked pretty good.
Thanks.
Yes, Philip.
I would like to ask, like, from my experience, usually Ceph is quite fragile, or maybe that was my experience. How did it handle this, like, all outage? Like, I'm sure that the data survived, but was it in working state, or did it need some manual intervention?
No, working state. So we had a look on this after we had access to the environment again. And we did not have to fix anything on the Ceph or on the management plane or on the compute plane. We only had to fix this stacked router agent on one of the Sonic switches. And the most pain was the MTU because it's a nightmare to find MTU, especially when it's Sunday evening and you do not want to do this. But no problems with Ceph, no problems with the management or the compute plane, nothing.
Thank you.
How did the customers react? Did they recognize themselves or just as you informed them?
So we have so we do not sell the infrastructure on its own. So we provide services on top of this. And our current customers are based in Germany. We are focusing on Germany as a market at the moment. And most of the services are things like a Key-My instance or a Hedgestock or something like this. And it was Sunday evening, and the employees of the customers were not online, and so it was not a problem. We informed them about the outage, and that's all. But I think this would be something different when you have, when you sold instances, for example, to a customer and they run some payload there, but we have a lot of CI things on top, and so that this was not a problem there.
Good. Any other questions or additions to this topic? Otherwise, I stop the recording now.